Hi there. Welcome to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. Today I have a very special guest. I have Kiana and Andrew Joyner. They are a therapist and coaching duo with Soul Journey Project. When they work together with other couples, individuals, and groups to help strengthen and create pathways forward for strong, sustainable relationships. They have a culturally aligned approach, which I'm excited to explore with them. And this is really to help us lay the foundation for building strong, healthy relationships, whether you are a new couple, whether you're engaged, whether you've been dating for 10 years, whether you're married, happily married. We all want tools to help us build and grow in our relationships. Help me welcome Kiana and Andrew Joyner to Lovin Sheila. Welcome to Lovin Sheila. I'm so happy to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
I'm glad
us.
to be here.
It's my first time having like a duo. That's really cool. One of the things I noticed, the soul journey. I like that because I'm always talking about my soul, and my soul doesn't like this and all that other stuff. And I remember, for me, the soul is the mind, the will, and the emotions, and trying to get those in alignment
Mhm.
has been a challenge sometimes. So I like the fact that you guys are the Soul Journey Project. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, so it's really understanding at the core of who we are is the soul, right? That's what makes us human beings. That's what makes us unique.
Right.
And really understanding that many of us are functioning on a very surface level, and we really wanted to go deeper. So we like the idea of the soul. And then the journey, just understanding that life is a journey. It's not just the destination. We're so focused on achieving and reaching these goals that we get there, but then we still feel empty. So realizing that really the gift is in all the lessons and things that we learn and gather along the journey and not forsaking that part. So kind of pairing that together in the work that we do.
That is great because I think it's all holistic, right? Like I've been compartmentalized for so many years. And that's when I started to really get into this loving Sheila and taking care of myself and being like present and caring and giving myself grace because those things don't come automatically, I don't think. I think we have to be intentional about it. It was a whole awakening for me. Tell me a little bit more about your background and how you got it started with the coaching.
So I'm the coach and Kiana's therapist in our therapist coach duo.
Hmm.
I'll let you share about your background, but I've been in corporate HR for over 15 years. That's where I started my career. That's what my degree is in, HR and organizational management. And along my journey, I discovered coaching and got certified as a professional coach a few years ago. I found that my strengths, even in my HR career, was really partnering with leaders, helping them navigate communication, helping them learn how to navigate through difficult employee relations issues, build better relationships, communicate their intentions more clearly,
Mhm.
and really make sure that there was alignment in their intentions and the impact that they were actually getting with their teams. So that's how I naturally showed up in my HR career, and that paired really well with coaching, which is really both based on understanding our intentions, what do we want to achieve, what action steps do we need to take to get there, and are the results we're getting actually fitting what we want, and making sure there's
Right.
alignment throughout that whole piece. So that's kind of how I got into coaching. Want to share about your therapy background?
Yeah, so I've been a therapist about 13 years and have worked in a variety of settings, whether it's juvenile corrections, addictions, geriatric, domestic violence, just kind of a wide range there. But really kind of landed individually on focusing on high achieving women seeking more fulfillment in my individual therapy. And then we'll do couples therapy as a team with both of us in those sessions. So I just had a passion for really just helping people to understand that as you go deeper, how do we actually take care of ourselves? How do we not see self care as optional and see it as mandatory? Because we have this body, we have this life, and it's important to take care of it. so we can live the life we actually desire, and giving them those practical tools on how to get there. Because many people are just stuck, whether they're individuals, couples, or businesses. Sometimes you just get stuck and you just don't know where to go or what direction to turn. So we like having a very practical approach to the work that we do, to give you some tangible items that you can work on outside of the sessions and build on that, to be able to see real change.
I like that. I like both aspects of that because, like think I said earlier, it's very holistic what we do, right? And so Andrew, coming from more of a corporate background, which that's my experience too. I did 35 years in business development, negotiating contracts and things like that. And then, I have no like therapeutic. I've just been in therapy for about 30 years. Since I believe in therapy. So but anyway, I like how you guys have a good view. You can deal with the whole person and from both sides of it. I also spent some time as a basketball coach, so I get the coaching aspects. So it's interesting how we can take all these aspects of our life and blend them to be more cohesive, or to develop the life that we want. So I find your stories, how you got into this, very interesting and very intriguing. And I have a few questions for you that I have written out here. One of the things I noticed when I was looking at your website is you said you had a culturally aligned approach to dealing with therapy, coaching, and just life's experiences. And I was interested in that, the culturally aligned portion. So can you kind of tell me how you approach that?
Yeah, so I think it's no secret that we're, African American, right? And so we can't really hide that piece. But I think what we really wanted to communicate is by not just saying we're a Black-owned business or something like that, but really we understand the cultural background that contributes to some of the challenges we can face.
Yeah.
And we know that within cultures, there's subcultures within cultures. So it's not just strictly about the color of our skin, because that can't tell the whole story. But it's understanding your story and your cultural background and how your experiences shape who you are today, right? And then giving you the opportunity to really reflect and look at that and say, okay, is this the person that I really want to be in the world? And we give our clients permission to change. They want to make a change in how they show up in the world. They can do that with more intentionality, with more purpose, more alignment internally, making sure their thoughts, their feelings, their beliefs, their assumptions are all lining up with where they want to go.
Yeah.
And so when we say culturally aligned, we're not just talking about skin color or being Black or anything like that, but it's really just about understanding your unique story. And that's what shapes us. That is our culture. It's those shared experiences that we've had that we can relate to, that shape our worldview.
I love that, because that to me goes back to identity. And I think so many of us, myself included, I think for years I struggled with my identity because I wasn't defined, self-defined. I was married for 22 years, and I was his wife, and I was my son's mother, and I was focused, and I was a career woman. I was trying to manage that, but within that, I didn't find my sense of self. And that's why I call this Lovin Sheila, because I want to drill down into that. So I believe that's great that it's culturally aligned, and I understand that's not just us being Black, but I do think there's some nuance to us being Black that, it's good to have someone who understands. So I'm just happy that you're out there and that you offer both the therapy and the coaching, because a lot of times we get therapy, but we don't really know what to do with it. Have you found that to be a common thing with therapy?
Yes, and so my style has a little bit of that coaching in it. I've always been very solution focused and action oriented, and I've had people come to me for that reason. That I saw on your profile, it said you were direct. I saw that you have solutions, and that's what they were looking for, because many people have been in therapy and they said, I just talked and they didn't say a whole lot.
Right.
So many come to me looking for more. They're wanting to get feedback. They said, I don't want just someone that's going to be a yes person. I want to be challenged. I want to grow, and I want someone that's going to help me get there. So, especially combining the therapy and coaching in the couples work, our clients really appreciate that because they do feel like they get some real tools that they're walking away with after every session and not just venting or a session to argue.
Right.
It's definitely not our style. So yes, people have wanted something different, which is why they kind of seek us out.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you feel are like the unspoken dynamics in relationship that cause the breakdown in communication and even resentment and just overall disconnection?
Yeah, there's a few of them, but it really boils down to, we try to help our clients understand from an individual perspective how they are showing up in the relationship.
Yeah.
What are their predominant thoughts and feelings, experiences that shape their expectations in the relationship?
Yeah.
Because it's oftentimes those unspoken expectations that get in the way of clear understanding in a relationship,
Right.
right? Because of my background, because of my experiences, because of what I've observed, the things I prefer, the things I'm adverse to, it has shaped a certain template that I'm expecting my partner to fit into.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime they are out of alignment with that template, there's conflict, there's misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So, what we try to, number one, shine light on what are those unspoken expectations? Do you know? Can you verbalize them clearly? Right? Do we know where they come from? Do we know how they got there? Did you choose that expectation or was somebody else imposing it upon you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's number one, identifying those things. Number two, it's also recognizing that we show up differently in relationships depending on who we are as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our thought process. Are you more of a thinking analytical person? Are you more of a feelings and emotions person? Both equally valid, both needed in the world. But if you don't know organically how you show up, we're speaking two different languages. Because the language of emotion and feeling is different than the language of logic and analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And if I'm focused on, A plus B equals C, and you're doing advanced algebra, hey, we're not going to get to the same outcome.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we're aligned on, are we speaking the same language? Are we communicating in a way that both of us understand and we get to the same meaning,
Yes. I
right?
actually did a podcast a couple months ago. It was called Ask for What You Want because I think so many times we assume people know. We just think like maybe by osmosis, I don't know, that they just get us. And I think you really have to be clear. You have to ask, let them know. Like, don't expect people just to automatically get it. Because if you're not communicating, they may not. If you're not talking, so I think that's really important that we get to that to make sure we're still aligned because we can't just think they don't know. One of the things I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit was after I'm divorced now. I've been divorced almost 3 years. And when I was transitioning and I started dating, I found that though at the end of my marriage, I just didn't feel very well. I realized I didn't feel safe throughout for the most part. It wasn't really a safe place, and we didn't communicate and all that stuff. So what I found is when I started dating, what I looked for, I like swung the pendulum all the way, right? And I just went for exactly what he did not offer. I didn't look at the whole myriad of everything I wanted, but I was like, this person will protect me, you know what I'm saying? And I'll feel safe physically. But I didn't look at all the other things. Do you find that is something that we do? Like once we get in a relationship, we focus on what we didn't. I guess it's that kind of 80-20 thing. I don't know. We focus on
Mhm.
what we didn't get instead of focusing on everything that we actually need.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's a natural reaction when we've, gone through something, either traumatic or really heavy. I mean, ending a marriage is a really big deal. And like you said, identity, there's so much of your identity that's wrapped up in those roles as wife, husband, mother, father, those things. So you're searching for that truth, you're searching for that meaning. And sometimes we can swing far to the other side, but that may be a part of your process,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Not that it's anything wrong, but that's a part of the process until we eventually kind of find that middle,
Yes.
right? Part of your journey to get to where you ultimately want to be. So it's, no shame in it or anything
Hmm.
like that. But I think just recognizing that's a part of it. And that's why it's important to do the inner healing, like
Yeah.
you said, in therapy or whatever space that may look
Mhm.
like, because there are some things that we need to uncover and heal from before being ready for another relationship as well.
I think we're continually like, every Tuesday I'm in therapy every Tuesday morning, and I still uncover new things, like, like new little trick, like landmines that I just, ooh, so no matter, I feel like no matter how healed you get and how much work you do, there's always so much more work to do. Another thing I noticed that your wealth advisors, which is interesting because I wanted to talk about financial compatibility. I think we look at compatibility like, I know for me back in the day when I was like, is he cute? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Silly things, like really
Yep. Yeah.
silly things, because I was, I didn't know how to choose a mate. I didn't know what compatible was. It was just like, was I attracted to him? So after my marriage, I had to do the work, and like, there's so much that's not even important. That part's not, I mean, it is important, but it's not the most important thing. But I found financial compatibility to be significant. So can you speak to me on like what financial incompatibility is, how we can ensure that we find someone that we're financially compatible with? Because I think it shows up in
Yeah.
bad ways. Can you enlighten me and our listeners?
So when we talk about financial compatibility, we're talking really about someone's orientation towards money and finance.
Okay.
We're not necessarily talking about how much money they have right now, how much debt, and all these kinds of things. That's important to understand too, especially if you're wanting to go down the path of marriage. But the most basic level is just understanding their orientation towards money. Are they a spender? Are they a saver? Do they have good money habits? Right? Are they practicing those things on a day-to-day basis? Can we see evidence of their financial stewardship in their own personal life?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we really care about, not what kind of car they drive, if it's luxury or not, how big their house is, like not these trappings,
Right.
right, of material.
Right.
That's like the wrong way to judge if somebody has a good financial acumen. It's really about how they manage their money in the day to day. Are they going to make the decisions that are necessary where they might need to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people don't either have that skill set or are aware of their partner's orientation towards money when they enter into these long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the wealth education and stuff like that and wealth coaching, it's not just about investing in all these kinds of things. That's important, but it's really brass tacks. The money that you make, what do you do with it,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you manage those resources? And is it compatible with my, need for financial security or what have you? Um, so we really encourage, especially the couples that we work with who are in premarital counseling with us or considering being engaged or what have you. We have these conversations about their orientations toward money. How do you manage your finances? What do you think about combining your finances after you're married? What would that look like for you? What barriers would come up if you did that, right? Like, and really try to get down to, are they aware of how you show up financially?
Mm-hmm.
So did you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the financial security, Sheila, and I think that's really important, especially for women. Women really prioritize that financial security. That if I that helps me feel safe,
Right.
right? If I know that our bills are going to get paid, and I can trust you to follow through on this, and and those sorts of things, that gives a level of security. And when that's not there, we see the friction, we see the conflict. It becomes symbolic in other ways, and I'm doubting you, and the man
Yeah.
feels like you don't trust me to be a man, and like things just end up, the deeper meanings start to compile
Mhm.
when we're not clear in some of those areas as well.
Absolutely. And I'm relearning a lot of things, and a lot of things I didn't think of before. But, I'll be honest, with me, with financial compatibility, it's just like I wanted someone who was kind of at a stage where I am. Like, I've recently retired. I'm ready to like live and go and do everything. My son just graduated from college. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's financial compatibility, but having someone
You call that life stage.
I was gonna say stage of life.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Oh, okay.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know that's how I feel, and I'm seeing someone now. We have a good relationship, and he's working, and I've been off for 6 months, and I'm just like I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
where am I going next? I was just curious about that because I wondered if we had named it in therapy financial compatibility in the past, my therapist and I. So I was just wondering if that was it. And you're right.
No, I was gonna say I agree that
Yeah.
the stage of life that you're in, someone that matches that is important, or at least has the flexibility or
Yeah.
something. Otherwise, you may feel like we're not on the same page
Right.
with our goals or our vision, or I want to take this trip and you can't.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be mad if I go by myself?
Yeah.
You know, some of those things too.
And that goes back to our conversation about discussing our expectations.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that's an expectation you have at this stage in your life, that you want to have a little bit more flexibility, you want to be able to travel, you don't want to be tied down to a job and all of that, making sure you're having those conversations with your partner, and making sure they're clear on that and trying to either identify, is this going to work or not? Or is there a third path we can explore?
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Compromise a little bit where maybe we only travel 3 or 4 weeks out of the year instead of six. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yes.
how do we still make it work where both of our needs are being met?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's the goal here for all of us. Now, what do you think about just talk to me about growing together? Because I think for me, like I want everyone to hear some foundational things about, starting new relationships, things that we need to, strong foundation, things that give us a stronger foundation in getting started and growing together. Because I think it's essential that, not only we have that foundation, but we are committed to growing. Can you give some advice or some pointers on that part, please?
Yeah, I would say to not put you or your partner in a box, that we're always growing and we're always changing. We know people have been in relationships for years or decades, and sometimes they're still in love with that person that they first met
Yeah.
rather than evolving with them. So if you have the mindset that this person is going to grow and change, and I love you as you are and as you're becoming,
Mhm.
versus only loving the version that you first encountered,
Mhm.
that's really important in that growing together phase. It's also a piece about, do we have shared goals?
Yeah.
Are there goals that we discuss together and we have a plan that we're working towards that goal? A lot of people have individual goals and they're growing at different rates, and they're not even talking about what those goals are, what those passions are, and they feel like roommates
Right.
rather than partners or a couple.
Yeah.
So that happens so much when people don't know what the other is passionate about, and there's nothing joint that's really binding you that you're working on together. It's, this is what I'm doing, this is
Right.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's a recipe for disaster.
If I wanted to be coached therapy, how do we engage with you? What is the process like?
Yeah, so right now, it's pretty simple. Hey, we can engage through a free consultation. It's either 20 or 30 minutes, depending on if you're seeking therapy or coaching. And we sit down and just talk and try to get an understanding of what are your goals, what are you looking for, what have been your past experience with coaching or therapy. We share a little bit about our style and approach, our method,
Hmm.
and make sure that it fits what they're looking for at this time.
Right.
We make sure that we're answering any questions that they have, and getting clarity so they know what to expect when they enter into a therapy or coaching
Right.
relationship with us. We are going to be direct. We're going to hold you accountable, but we're going to be gentle and we're going to, be empathetic. Because we are married, we've been married for 13 years. We've been together 15.
Mhm.
We can relate
Yeah.
even if we don't have the same exact experience as our clients. We can relate and understand how it can get there,
Mhm.
because we've had our own challenges, right?
Yes.
So, and we make that clear too on the front end. And yeah, and that's really how they engage with us. Of
And
course,
that
they connect with us on our social media and stuff like that too, if they like. But that's the basic way they can connect with us.
and that's great because I think we all want to see someone real, and you guys get to like flesh it out for us and let us see how, we can have conflict. We can not just agree on everything, but we can work through it for the good of our relationship and holding that together in a strong way.
Absolutely.
I saw that you mentioned nervous system healing. And I think after my divorce and stuff, my nervous system was a nervous wreck. So tell me, how do you go about nervous system healing?
Yes, absolutely. So it's recognizing, how do you show up when you feel in danger? Most people have heard of fight or flight, but they don't know that freeze is also a very normal nervous system reaction when we're feeling in danger or in pressure or under high stress. So knowing how you show up, knowing what those triggers are, and then planning for, how do I start to address that? How do I start to heal that? Because not everyone has the awareness of that. Many people are reacting.
Yeah.
We're just reacting to our environment, reacting to our circumstances, and not, as you said before, being as intentional.
Right.
So if we build that insight to action, it's kind of that bridge that we really focus on with our clients, so that you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances, but you can take back that control and realize it's your nervous system. So you can do something about it.
Yes, yes. I was having some experiences in life lately, and was I go hiking a lot because it clears my mind. And I was thinking to myself, I said, like, survival mode kind of is like my default setting. Like I'm always ready for that. Like I know what to do, and I was like, but I don't want it to be. And I was telling, I told you I was involved with, and I was telling him last night, I said, I feel like, I remember I had a pastor once, and he said, you can't fight in the ring and in the corner. And I feel like that's what the survival mode is. It's like you're in the ring, you're boxing, you go to the corner, you box some more, you come back. See, there's never a relief. And so I am interested in the nervous system and trying to get it to calm down, because sometimes you said it's our nervous system. Sometimes we feel a little disconnected from it. And so I think we have to be mindful. So
Yeah, it's connecting all of that. Many people are not aware of their body. When you're feeling stressed, what's happening in your body? There's a disconnect between the body and the mind, the body and the emotions. And we don't realize that everything starts with a thought, and that leads to the feeling, and then that leads to the behavior. So what are those underlying thoughts that are deep, deep, that are leading to those feelings of anger, fear, resentment, whatever it may be, depression, anxiety? So that if we change that core thought, we can eventually change the feelings and behaviors. So really breaking that down for people too, to understand the connection, the holistic part of who we are. And there's practical things we can do to, lower our, to being so wired up with our nerve, that survival mode. And we have an article on our website that talked about that, the 7 keys to wellness. Nervous system reset. And we talked about, the value of breathing and being present and movement and community and, things like that, that you could put into practice right away to start to feel more in alignment.
Yeah.
To take it even a little bit deeper, she talked about everything starts with a thought, and the thought is really the story we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
What is the narrative that's running in the background?
Yes.
What's the software running behind the hardware?
You're right.
And that narrative is shaped by our experiences, both positive and negative, our beliefs, our assumptions, and our interpretations of the world around us. So when you are ready to start really examining, why do I react this way? Why do I feel like I'm boxing in and out of the ring? That's where we have to now go, is analyze, what are those core thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, interpretations? What message have you believed about your life, about your ability, about your circumstance, that is shaping how you then react, which is where your nervous system, goes into that fight, flight, freeze mode.
I think a lot of times that comes from just wanting to be in control of I think it's that trying to be in control of everything. When something like pokes at me and messes with my control, then I start to react in a way that I don't think is healthy. So that's what I'm saying. There's an awareness, there's a constant need for evolving, a constant need for growth and seeing things about ourselves. And that's why I was happy to talk to you all today, because, it's important. I think dealing with our mental health and our wellness is vital. If we're going to be successful in any level, our careers or with our family, in our relationships, we got to get we have to have our mind right. It's no way around it. And I think talking to you is important because we have to take the time to drill in, to uncover, to tap in, and to discover what these things are. Like Andrew just said, what is the underlying thing that's making you feel like you have to be in this survival thing? It's just that simple, like you said. So if our viewers want to get in contact with you, would you share your contact information?
Yes, you can go right to our website, souljourneyproject.com. We respond to all of our messages. You can book consultations directly through there and read our articles and see podcasts like this and others that we've been on as well. And we're also on Instagram and Facebook at Soul Journey Project, and would love to connect with you.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate the talk that we've had today. It's been enlightening. I use myself as an example just to try and work through some of these issues. I'm sure a lot of women are having some of the same problems, or having some of the same patterns. So we got to uncover a little bit of that today. I want to thank you for being with me. I appreciate you, and thank you so much. Well, that was just fantastic. I think we gained some new tools for our toolbox to help us be better in our relationships. Like I always say, the first relationship that we have is with ourselves. And we've done the self-love journey and identity journey. And now we're learning how to be better in a relationship as part of a couple, or even in our family. So glean from this what you will, put it in your toolbox. We are becoming more and more equipped to have happier and healthier relationships, which is our goal. If you're going to be in a relationship, why not have it be a good relationship? I mean, it just makes perfect sense. So like anything, you have to do the work. So here are the tools. Let's do the work. Let's apply it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Like I always want to hear from you. I'll see you on the next Lovin Sheila, the podcast. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye for now.